Welcome to the Vitality Secret Podcast. In this episode, I interview Dr. Paul Baratteiro, who is the founder of Echo Water, a pioneering advocate for molecular hydrogen therapy with over 2 decades of experience in the health and wellness industry. Hydrogen water reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, key contributors to many chronic diseases, or what I call chronic symptoms. Echo Water now offers a range of products dedicated to support detoxification, cognitive function, immune health, and gut recovery. Everyone has their own personal journey of how they got into this.
Yes.
It doesn't just happen by accident. What was your story? How did you get into becoming the producer of the largest water company in the world, Hydrogen Water?
So all the credit goes to my queen, the love of my life, Jacqueline. I call her Jacqueline, right? Jacqueline Marie to make it sound cool. But yeah, my wife. Yeah, no, she's a little bit of French, but no, I just love to be goofy. But she is the love of my life. We've been married 31 years. And the first 10 years of marriage, she was not doing well. She had thyroid issues, gynecological issues, anemia. I mean, on and on it goes, adenomyosis, so much stuff going on. And so at that time, I was looking for any way to help her feel better, not be bedbound 1 week a month on her menstrual cycle. Just all of the things that were going on. I was like, what can I do? And I was trying to find stuff, but I wasn't real successful, quite honestly, in changing what was going on with her. We were doing things that were helping and stuff, but really, she was in significant pain on her menstrual cycle. She had thyroid issues. She had anemia, so she would faint. Just, she'd make a certain noise, and I would know I needed to come running, or she was going down. So it wasn't. It was a horrible time, really, for us. So we had some friends that had an organic food store in our city we were living in, and we went to church together. We were friends, and 9/11 happened. And as we all know what happened, people stopped flying places, people stopped going anywhere. And so half of the revenue of my friend's organic food store was people coming to Disney World in Orlando and buying organic food from them for their condos. And so they took a huge hit when 9/11 occurred because people weren't coming to Disney. So their business was in trouble. They came to me and asked for help. I said, sure, I can help you with part of it, but you need to find someone else for the rest of it. So we gave them help, and a year later, they were still kind of in the situation, and I said, listen, I'll just forgive the interest. Don't worry about it. Just pay back the principal. Don't worry about the interest and all the, because they wanted to pay me interest, right? People that borrow money, they always want to pay interest. So I said, don't worry about it. Just pay me back. And it took a while more. And so as a thank you for forgiving the interest, they took my wife and I on a cruise with them. And this was 2005 on the Carnival Liberty ship. And they, of course, chose the dates because they were surprising us with this cruise. And the first day of that cruise was my wife's first day of her menstrual cycle. And so we assumed of this 9-day cruise, she will be in bed for 7 days of that 9-day cruise.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like, that sucks, right? But it is what it is. So we get on the ship, and as we're getting on the ship together, they're like, here, we brought you water. And we're like, what? You brought water on a ship? Like, what the heck? And they're like, oh yeah, you don't want to drink the water on the ship. That's, you want to drink this. And I'm like, I drink water on the ship every other cruise I've been on, And so anyways, it was kind of a joke we were doing. Well, anyways, we get on the ship. My wife goes straight to the cabin and to bed, and I'm there. And I go to art auctions. I come back. I'm just going out doing stuff that I can do. And finally she says, hey, I'm thirsty. Is there water? And I said, yeah, let me get the water that they gave us. I gave her water. I drank water. I didn't sprout wings and fly. Nothing crazy happened for me. I wasn't levitating off the ground. So I'm a guy, right? I'm like, whatever, it's water. She drank the water, and she's like, honey, my body is craving this water. And I said, really? Okay, I'll drink the toilet water, which is what my friends were calling the ship water. And you drink the good water that they brought. So she starts drinking the water, and she is up and around in a day and a half. And I'm like, what is going on? Right.
Wow.
So all I cared, I'm a guy, right? We're skeptical and we're just like, hey, she's enjoying this cruise. I'm loving that fact.
Mm,
And so, long story short, we have an amazing cruise. We go to Costa Rica, we go to Panama, we go to we take a little trip to the Panama Canal, watch ships go through. I mean, it's beautiful, right? I held a sloth. It was wonderful, and my wife was with me the entire time, and it was great. So I'm sitting with my friends at breakfast one morning, and I'm like, okay, what the heck is up with this water you did? Like, okay. And they're like, oh, this is how we were able to pay you back. We got this machine in our office, and people are lining up to buy gallons of water from us every day, and this has like changed all kinds of lives. And they're telling me all kinds of conditions that have gone away, and I'm just going, oh crap, you know. And so I said, well, what's in the water that's causing all these things? We don't know. They said, we have no idea what it is. And I'm
mm,
like, what? Well, what do you mean you have no idea? What about the people? What about the company that's selling you? He goes, he doesn't know either. And I'm like, what? So
wow.
keep in mind, this was 2005,
Okay.
20 years ago, 20 years ago now. And that company's long since gone. It was a company out of Japan that was making a machine, and it's long since gone. And the guy who sold them the machine and came looking for a job from me, and I said no later, because he was going out of business. And so, long story short, that was the introduction. But after the cruise, we went home. I didn't think anything else about it. Unbeknownst to me, my wife goes to my friend's store and is getting water still. And within 6 months, her menstrual cycle was normal. And I was like,
Incredible.
what the heck? Right. And so
Mm,
I then decided I had to do a deep dive to really understand what's going on. And it took me, Neil, a year and a half researching every paper that all these companies were giving out, these alkaline water companies were giving out, making it seem like that's what the cause was with their um, product. And of course, none of it was factual, none of it was true based on the way science and water works. It was all nonsense. I had a friend of mine who had a PhD in water chemistry. He worked with one of my companies, and I said, "Hey, Chris, can you look at this and just see if there's anything in there that's worth anything?" And he says, you're right. Everything is opposite of what happens with water chemistry in here. But he goes, "I did find one study you gave me, and I think this is the only one that has anything that's worth anything. And I think I found your answer of what's in the water that's causing potentially benefit." And I said, "Really?" So he hands it to me, and there was this chart, and it said the letters DH. And I said, DH. And he said, dissolved hydrogen.
mm.
And I said, boom. And I felt like goosebumps from head to toe. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
confirmation.
yeah. I said, that's interesting. He goes, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to keep research? No, no. I said, I got it from here. You keep doing the projects I got you on.
Mm.
Thank you so much. You're amazing. Thank you. And I started doing research on hydrogen.
So your intuition tuned into that very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah,
Dissolved hydrogen. That's
yeah,
very interesting.
yeah. And I kind of had figured, because after the cruise, I got into the industry of marketing machines that were alkaline, because I knew they were helping. Not the one that my friends had. That was a scam company. But I did research and found the actual largest manufacturer in the world at the time of alkaline water machines, and got involved and started promoting those. And we were selling thousands of machines a month. Again, this was 20 years ago, and that company's gone too. I became a partner in that company, and then it's changed names and stuff since, and they're still available today, but the machines are not. But the reality is, I got involved in the industry, and I understood a lot of things by then. By that year, by the time that year and a half went through, I really understood electrolysis a lot better. I understood what was going on with the chemistry. And so I kind of had a hypothesis or a belief that it was hydrogen that was helping, but I didn't have anything that would confirm that. Once I saw that study, it was like, oh, wait, let me hone in on hydrogen and let me go research. And so
Mhm.
that's what really started the process. And again, 20 years ago now, but I started looking up stuff, and all of a sudden, when it's like asking the right question,
Right.
you get the right answer. If you don't know the question to ask, you're not going to get the right answer, right? So now I understood one part that I needed to be studying and learning. And man, I started finding things. They were hard to find, but I started finding things on hydrogen and how hydrogen was uh, an antioxidant, hydrogen, and I started kind of going down these rabbit holes and finding out, oh my gosh, you know, there have been human trials having to do with hydrogen. The United States government was healing gunshot wounds with World War II with high. I mean, they were using high. There was all these things I started finding, and I'm like, what the heck? What happened to all this research? What's going on? And so, long story short, my journey was accidental in a way. That's how it begun. It was people bringing something. Now, just so everyone knows, I went back and tested the water that my friends brought and gave to my wife, and no, there was no hydrogen in that. And so it's really important that we understand there was no hydrogen, but the ORP of the water was a negative.
Mm.
And that means that at some point in their process, there was hydrogen present, but then hydrogen went out, which is typically the case with alkaline systems. Hydrogen quickly is gone, but in the presence of hydrogen, the ORP will change. And so
Tell us
I
about Can you tell us about ORP? What does it stand for?
oxidation reduction potential. So
I have seen one of your competitors discuss this to quite
yeah,
length,
and it's
Kangen.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's not what they say and what all the other companies say is not really true scientifically. And oh, oxidation reduction potential, as it says, it's a potential. It's not an electrical charge. It's not a charge in the water. They all talk about it like it's a charge and all this. It's not at all. It's simply when you have hydroxides produced, OH minus, you will have negative ORP. When you have H plus hydrogen ions, for example, in the water, then you'll have a high positive ORP.
Mm.
That's what's changing the ORP is either a hydrogen ion on one side or a hydroxide on the other. None of it does anything beneficial for you. It's just a result of having hydrogen in there. And just like if we understand pH, that's potential hydrogen.
Yeah.
And the opposite of pH is POH, potential hydroxide. So understand that when we're saying potential hydrogen, we're actually testing the hydrogen ion. That's how pH is tested. And so people miss all of this because marketing is
Yeah.
incorrect. Yeah.
Can you tell us the difference between what is sold as alkaline water with a high pH in your supermarket shelves, in
Right.
plastic bottles, of course,
Yeah.
compared with what you're producing, the molecular hydrogen that you're producing in your machines, which does incredible things like bring inflammation down and get rid of
Yes.
oxidative stress?
You can't compare them at all.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
can't.
two
Yeah,
and our water is not alkaline. I would never tell anyone to drink alkaline water. It's not good for you. And
interesting. That's a
it can
different
harm you.
band.
It can harm your system. You can have Hertzheimer effects, which many people do. And of course, the salespeople tell them that's a detox symptom, but it's not. It's a Hertzheimer effect because their body balance is thrown off by bringing in something high pH to the body, which is unnatural. So when it comes to drinking water, when we look at these bottles of water in the grocery stores, if they are in fact alkaline, and it depends on which bottle you're talking about because you could test them and they're not anymore.
Mm.
And you'll see there's a little disclaimer that says at time of production.
However many months or years beforehand. Yeah.
Oh, definitely months and years. So it'll say at time of production because you might test it and it's fine. The only products on the market that the pH will be stable is because they've put additives into the water,
Mm.
minerals and
Yeah.
things like that, which again aren't beneficial to the body either, but it will keep the pH of that water alkaline. But again, there is zero benefits. And so let's have some fun with that because there are a lot of people that hook, line, and sinker have fallen and think the pH is what is making the improvements in the body. But that's been proven false since the 80s.
Okay.
But people are still selling products saying it's the pH. And we need to understand there is no benefit, categorically false, no benefit to drinking water with a higher pH, thinking it's going to improve your health. It's false.
Thank you for clearing that up. And
Yeah.
so let's talk about molecular hydrogen then.
Yes.
What one of your competitors does say is they say they're not selling alkaline, they're selling molecular hydrogen. But the
Well,
way the agency
now they say
now
that
they're
because of
saying, I
my
remember us
work.
talking about this
Yeah.
at the event.
Yeah.
Didn't say this at the start, the biohacking event where we first met a few years ago. Yeah. So can you tell us about molecular hydrogen and or
Absolutely.
hydrogen?
So, first of all, hydrogen is where the benefits came from, even with Kangen systems.
Yeah.
When a Kangen system is brand new, it produces a ton of hydrogen, just like our devices do. But after 2, 3 weeks, depending on how high the mineral content is in the water that you're putting through the Kangen machine, calcium is going to bond onto the cathode within 2 weeks, and you won't have hydrogen anymore. So that the cause of the benefit will be gone. And if you read the warranty page in Kangen system, it will say you need to clean it every 2 weeks if you want hydrogen. So they don't tell people that openly. They sell on the fact that it's hydrogen now because of my great work. They sell on that, but they bury in the warranty that you got to clean it every 2 weeks if you want to have hydrogen gas.
Yeah,
And so,
I'm aware of that because I actually got one of these machines a few years ago,
yeah,
and I was aware that we had to clean them every 2 weeks, and then a proper clean every few months.
well, the proper clean is what you have to do every 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
If you don't, you won't have hydrogen until you do the next proper clean. And so the reality of most people that have Kangen machines, they're cleaning it once a year or twice a year. And so they're not having hydrogen. And usually all of them will say, oh, the water feels different after I do a deep clean,
Mm.
because that's when they have hydrogen again. So what did I really do? I understood that hydrogen was king. That's all that mattered in this whole equation. The pH didn't matter. The ORP doesn't matter as much. It really was hydrogen gas. So in my wife's situation, the ORP really helped her gut begin to repair. But then I got a machine that actually had hydrogen in it all the time. Not a Kangen, of course, but I never had anything to do with Kangen as a company. And they weren't actually around. They Kangen wasn't even in the United States when I began this journey. It was a totally different company from Japan. And then later it was a company from South Korea that I began promoting machines with. And then later developed my own, and they manufactured that. And they were the original company in South Korea from the 1984 creating machines. And if we really go back in history, there's one company in Japan and one company in South Korea that started making alkaline machines, period. And it wasn't, of course, Kangen. And it wasn't even the company, Toyo Atex, that makes the Kangen machines that Kangen bought the rights to. It was a totally different company. And the way you know that is in the original studies, there's only two companies mentioned ever back in the 80s. There's only two companies. Panasonic got into it for a little while and then got back out. But anyways, that it was a different company. So long story short, here we are. I'm figuring out all this crazy stuff 20 years ago, and I get involved and start promoting machines. I hated the fact that it was alkaline, but I liked the fact that in these particular machines there was a patent. And that patent was for reversing the polarity of the electrodes every time you use the machine. So it was
Mm.
therefore impossible for the calcium to bond because the electrodes were changing polarity. And so cathodes, the next time all the cathodes would be anodes, and the next time they'd be cathodes again, and the next time they'd be anodes. So because you're switching polarity, you can't bond the minerals. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I like that. That was 2005, and then 2007 when they redid the patent again. And so again, right around that time where I was getting involved, this company was doing that not because of hydrogen, because they didn't want the degradation of their electrodes. Because
Interesting.
when calcium bonds, it overheats, just like in a Kangen machine, it overheats those electrodes, and you end up having a problem with the platinum layer that's on those electrodes. In this other company, they did it to preserve their electrodes. What they didn't know they were doing is they were preserving hydrogen. And so the actual medical benefit and the health benefit was now preserved. And I got that and understood that. And by 2009, I exited the company I was with and I began creating the Echo brand by
Mm,
2009. And so that's when I was developing the first hydrogen focused system. And then now the rest is history. But Echo as a brand is 16 years old.
okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Can you tell us how this water hydrates us so well, our number two cell fuel after oxygen, and why most people are actually dehydrated?
Yes. So most people are dehydrated because they have contaminants in their water they're drinking, and the body will reject the water because they already have too much of a burden on their pancreatic system and too much of a burden on their kidney, liver, all those systems, those organs. And so when you drink water that has contaminants, the body will reject that. And even though you're drinking a lot of water, you may not be hydrated.
Mm,
Also, and there's other things we don't need to go into that, but that's the main reason why. So in our case, we don't change the pH of the water. We simply dissolve H2 gas. Now the body will crave that and want that. And so the hydration will increase because the body will want that. Now, we remove the contaminants, and that's the big difference between us and other companies is we have very robust filtration. Even the filter built into our machines will remove pesticides, glyphosate, heavy metals,
wow.
pharmaceuticals. We've done all this testing. Even the filter that's in the machine,
Mm, that's huge.
we've already done all that testing years ago. 2019, we did our first glyphosate test, and it removed glyphosate to a non-detectable level. And so that's a big deal, and that's what's was important to me was that we were removing the contaminants out of water before you drink, because if people listen to what I said was the body will take the water in because of the hydrogen gas, even if there's contaminants in it. And so therefore you're actually harming yourself if you're drinking water with hydrogen that's not properly filtered.
Mm,
You're bringing in toxins because the body will take the hydrogen and deal with the contaminants.
wow.
So what's better is to give someone water that doesn't have contaminants. This is why I'm passionate about people not buying crappy products that are hydrogen, which most of the products on the market being promoted are not really hydrogen. They're scam products that are being sold to unknowing people, because if you don't understand the science, the chemistry, the technology, you can be duped really easy. Because when Joe Rogan talked about our hydrogen bottle, the Echo Go Plus, 3 years ago, all of a sudden companies from China and Asia started dumping bottles on Amazon and Alibaba and trying to say this is the same thing as the Echo bottle. There is nothing else like the Echo bottle. But
Mm,
they were selling these cheap knockoff bottles that weren't really hydrogen. They're producing chlorine,
yeah, I've seen a lot of the
producing
examples of them.
hypochlorous acid.
Yeah.
And so it was really a horrible bait and switch for people, but people got sucked in because they were selling these bottles for $60, $100.
Mm,
I can't even manufacture this and get it here for $60. And so people are getting duped into thinking they're buying a hydrogen product, but they're not actually buying a hydrogen product. And so, and
exactly.
then this is not electrolysis. This doesn't function with electrolysis because that would be very bad. The only reason you use electrolysis is to change pH.
Interesting.
You don't use electrolysis to effectively create hydrogen.
I've heard that electrocuting water is not a good thing.
I don't know that, I mean, it's definitely a marketing term,
Yeah.
electrocuting. It's not really electrocuting. But understand the way electrolysis works is you have a cathode and an anode, and they're really close together. And so they are going to change the pH because you have hydroxides and hydrogen ions. Well, what's a hydrogen ion? It's H plus. Where's the oxygen going? It's going to go to the acid side of the water. So you're creating ozone, you're creating hypochlorous acid. And if you're adding salt, you're creating hypochlorite or bleach.
Hmm.
So this is what's happening
Wow.
in the Kangen machine is you're creating bleach. That's why it smells like bleach, tastes like bleach. It's bleach. So bottom line, when people buy these bottles that are sold as hydrogen and they're electrolysis, imagine that Kangen water system. If you ran the acid water and the alkaline water into a glass and drank it, what's it going to taste like?
Leach.
Right. That's
Wow.
exactly what people are drinking because in these bottles, like the ion bottle, all these bottles, they're creating hypochlorous acid and
Uh,
you're drinking in chlorine
okay.
and a
Worth
tiny
knowing.
bit of hydrogen. So when you have a bottle and you're using electrolysis, now you're getting the acid water and the alkaline water together. You're going to have a neutral pH, but you're going to have chlorine, ozone, you're going to have O2, O3, Cl2, and some H2 and Brown's gas. You got a whole crazy thing going on in there. That's not how this works. So in the bottom, I'll turn this on. It'll be easier to see. So here, I turned it on with the touchscreen. You can see right there in the bottom a blue little dot.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So that's where oxygen, chlorine, ozone would come out of our chamber. So we use a proton exchange and a proprietary proton exchange membrane that will last thousands of hours to produce hydrogen at peak. So people have years of use of this making peak hydrogen, and they know the oxygen, the chlorine, anything else that could be in it is going out the bottom, and just the H2 gas is what you see right there.
So what kind of water can they put in that machine? Because I know
So
that's your smallest device. I know the larger machines are
yes,
they have all the
so in
filters.
there's no filter in this, so you need to put clean water.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with the other bottles on the market, you can't put clean water in them or they won't work because they're electrolysis. You need minerals.
Okay.
So it's a catch 22. You have to put water in that has minerals, but then you're going to create chlorine.
Okay.
If you put pure water like distilled or reverse osmosis, nothing will happen. You won't produce any hydrogen. You won't produce chlorine either. You're just getting nothing out of it.
So with your one, what do you put in? Mineral water?
Distilled water, pure reverse osmosis. We don't need minerals. We don't need anything but water in here. And we will produce over 6 parts per million of hydrogen gas with distilled, with deionized. It doesn't matter what you put, whatever water you put in this, it doesn't matter as long as it's clean.
And what about the minerals? You said we don't need minerals.
Of course, you don't need minerals, but it doesn't, if you want to put water in with minerals, doesn't matter to me.
Why do
In
you
our,
say we
in
don't
our
need
unit,
minerals? Because we understand that water needs minerals.
no, we don't. That's false.
That's a big thing. Because
Water,
RO, people say we shouldn't be drinking RO because there's no minerals in it because it stripped the water of minerals.
correct. And and who started that conversation? People that have electrolysis based devices because they need the minerals for the technology to work. It's and so you're never going to tell someone, "Hey, pay $4,000 for a machine, but you got to use water with minerals in it, otherwise no effect will happen." They just say that water's bad. It has no minerals. It's dead water, but
So
it's not true.
so all the products, the trace minerals, for example, that are sold that I actually have as well here in Mexico. Are you saying we don't need them?
I think it's great. If people want to put salt in their water, it's wonderful. I use Redmond salt. I'm in Utah,
Okay.
and Redmond is a great company. They have a product called Relight, which I like the watermelon lime flavor. You know,
Okay.
and I do I after I process the water in here, then I put in a glass, or if I do it, I have a machine actually here. And I just put a little bit of salt. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. I'm talking about the minerals in tap water, the minerals in groundwater.
Mm.
Where do those minerals come from?
Normally, they'd come from the earth if we were to
The
be
dirt.
a
Yeah, the
clean
dirt that the
system.
water's going through.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't eat dirt, and I'm not sucking on dirt in my mouth to get minerals out. Where should we get our minerals from as a human being?
I guess the food.
Correct. Because minerals in the dirt are in an inorganic state.
Well, if we were to be drinking from a spring back in the, I don't know,
Doesn't matter.
years ago.
You still have inorganic minerals in there. How do we get them? How do we get those inorganic minerals into an organic state that are bioavailable to our body? That's what plants do.
Okay. So before Echo came around,
Right.
we were being as natural as we possibly could,
That's
drinking
right.
straight from the springs. Isn't there an
Ex-
argument to say we needed those minerals because it was filtered through all the streams and came through the
Definitely
earth?
not. Definitely
No?
not. Not from water. You
Interesting.
don't need minerals from water. You would eat food, whether it's meat or plants, whatever diet you're on, there's minerals in all of that. Plants put their roots down in the dirt and they pull up those inorganic minerals and convert them to an organic state. And we eat the
Interesting.
vegetable and get the minerals out of the vegetables.
Mm.
So if we
Okay.
went back 100 years ago, 200 years ago, A, we didn't have gut issues then. We didn't have a dysfunctioning gut. We were farting, and part of flatulence is hydrogen. We are designed as human beings to produce hydrogen in our gut through the fermentation process of food.
Wow.
I would have never created Echo
Mm.
if I lived 200 years ago
Right.
because we didn't have gut issues. We didn't have disease models like we have today. We had a functioning gut. We had a good immune function. We had good antioxidant systems. We functioned the way our bodies were designed, and we were producing hydrogen, which is anti-inflammatory and antioxidative, right? So we had that already built into us. The reason my wife had the issues because she had gut issues.
Mm.
The reason why Echo Water is thriving is because people have gut issues.
No longer.
No longer. So once they drink the Echo Water for 2 weeks. Many times the gluten and dairy intolerance goes away, the food allergies go away. They can eat
That's
whatever the heck they
extraordinary.
want. Yeah. So
That's extraordinary.
that's once we get hydrogen back into the body, we change brain function, we change cholesterol levels, we change diabetes, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, cancer. And I'm not saying
Inflammation comes down.
inflammation because
Do you?
and why am I mentioning all these disease models? Not because we're a cure for cancer, because I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
What is the cause of disease? The combination of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation.
Yeah.
That's your cause of disease. It doesn't matter which of these diseases we're
Yeah,
talking about.
exactly. I'm of the same page. Yeah.
It's oxidative stress and inflammation. What's hydrogen's primary role? To manage oxidation so you don't get oxidative stress
Brilliant.
and
Brilliant.
inflammation. So the reason the creator who engineered our bodies, hydrogen is so critical. If you really look at our body, we're carbon hydrogen chains. So
Mhm.
hydrogen is critical for our body. We produce it internally,
Amazing.
just like we produce hypochlorous acid internally in our white blood cells, right?
Yeah.
We produce everything we need if we have our body functioning correctly. But it requires our intestinal tract to be healthy. The biome and the terrain must be healthy.
And that also, of course, means removing all the crap that we tend to be eating as a human species to
Right.
cause inflammation and all the rest of the toxins which we have introduced into the body somehow.
Well,
So,
there's many ways to get breathing,
yeah,
lotions,
yeah.
food, all of
70,000
it.
chemicals and cosmetics or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. as well as the
So I
environmental.
would have
Yeah.
never had to do a hydrogen product if everyone had a gut that was intact.
Right. And so many
It,
people have leaky gut now, which is the cause of autoimmune disease
well, it's a cause of everything
and everything, really. Yeah.
because you're not managing oxidation.
Mm.
That's what hydrogen does. So whether we talk about performance ATP production, it requires hydrogen.
Yeah.
So we need hydrogen in the body to allow energy production, to allow what is stomach acid?
Not enough hydrogen.
Well, no, stomach acid is
Is
HCl.
it?
We have to have hydrogen to make hydrochloric
Okay.
acid.
Okay.
So we can't even make stomach acid without hydrogen.
Right. We need acid, of course, in the stomach.
Of course,
Mm.
I mean, the stomach acid is 1.5 pH, and the environment in the stomach is a 3 to a 5, depending on how much gastric juice is there. But the point is, it's not a high pH. It's not alkaline. Everything's acid. All the food we're eating, vegetables, all below 7 pH. Cucumber, 5.5. Like, there's no such thing as alkaline vegetables. They don't grow that way. They're all lower than 7 pH. Our stomach is an acid environment to break down food.
That's an interesting take because we often hear from a body electric standpoint that consuming green drinks, for example, keeps your body in a higher alkaline state. So
False.
you say that's false. Interesting.
Yes. What, how does our body, and let me ask you this, which part of the body are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about the stomach ultimately, aren't we?
Well, but that's always going to be acid.
It's
You're
always going
never
to be
going to get
acid,
that alkaline. But I'm saying what when
yeah.
they say it makes the body alkaline, that comment, that's nonsensical marketing, but let's just go deeper in. What part of the body are they talking
Blood.
about that would be
They're not
alkaline?
talking about blood because that needs to keep in a very narrow range or we die. But they're talking about the stomach ultimately, I guess, and the digestive system.
But the stomach has to be acid. If you
It
made it
has to be acid.
alkaline, you'd be in big trouble.
So when one says there's an acidic environment which causes cancer, for example, and every illness, and then we create an alkaline environment in the body and it heals, are you suggesting that's false?
100% false.
That's an interesting take.
And where's the proof that cancer thrives in an acid environment versus because in fact, if typically cancer cells are high pH. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It's called alkalosis. Cancer thrives in alkalosis.
Okay, interesting.
The whole
Are
entire
you?
thing is nonsense. All of
Well,
it is false science sold by people promoting alkaline water and alkaline lifestyle, which is you can't do. It's impossible. Your body doesn't function properly if you're putting alkaline things because what's going to happen in the stomach if you drink a 9 pH water?
it's going to become 2 pH potentially. Sorry, 2 alkaline potentially, which is not good.
Well, there's no buffering capacity of water coming out of an electrolysis device. Remember, all we said is the reason the pH was high is because it has hydroxides.
Right.
But uh, are hydroxides, do they have a buffering capacity very much?
I guess.
No,
They don't?
no. Okay, you used to promote Kangen, right?
Yeah, many years ago, yeah.
So what did you do when you did the pH test?
Use the ORP machine. The pH thing was never really marketed. We never really did that. It was
You
the
didn't.
ORP.
Well,
No.
they still do it today, right? They do the
ORP, I
purple
did.
drops, they do all that stuff. What happens when you add a few drops of lemon juice into Kangen water if you have a pH reagent in that water? So the
Oh,
pH
I
will go
guess
purple.
it'll change, yeah.
It'll go purple, and then you put a little bit of lemon juice. What happens to the
It goes
pH?
acidic again.
Correct. So if lemon juice does that, what would stomach acid do if we put a few drops of stomach acid in that solution?
I see. It's just going to make it acidic.
Correct. So it's within seconds of drinking Kangen water or any alkaline water that comes out of an electrolysis machine, the pH does not survive.
Got it.
So how can it? be making your body alkaline if it can't even survive lemon juice, let alone stomach acid, which is far more buffering than lemon juice.
This has been a useful lesson today.
And it's like people are thinking falsely that the water in the stomach goes out, but there's a mucosal lining in the stomach to block anything from going out of the stomach. It has to go through the duodenum or duodenum into the small intestine, then into the large intestine. Then it's absorbed through the intestinal tract.
Got it. Not from the stomach.
No, if and let's have fun with this. People say that you drink alkaline water and it's going to make your body alkaline. If that was true, then one soda would kill you.
Mm,
Soda's a
highly
one
so.
and a half, 2 pH. Lemon juice is a 1.5. The first time you squeeze some lemon juice in water and drink it, dead. You know,
I would challenge though, in a way, with Kangen, for example, that's been around 50 years. They've got so many case studies of people healing, like so
no,
many.
they don't. No,
You don't think? I mean, I've
no,
I've met
no,
them. I've met
no,
them.
no. Do you know how many people with Kangen machines have cancer? Do
No,
you know how many class action lawsuits have been against Kangen?
no.
Four. Four, and they've lost them.
Oh wow,
So you got to understand it's nonsense. It's not scientific. It's not medical.
interesting.
There is
Talking of
no
medical,
truth.
is yours FDA? Not that I care, because FDA
There's no such thing as an FDA approved. That's a
is
lie
nonsense.
too.
It's complete and utter nonsense, and it
Kangen
must be
machines are
known.
not medical grade. They're not. In the class action lawsuit, they asked Kangen's doctor, and he goes, "No, of course it's not medical grade. We just say that to justify the price, but it's actually illegal marketing
What,
because Kangen is given an FDA registration in Japan.
okay. What about Echo?
Ec- Echo machines have FDA registration in South Korea.
Okay.
But did you know
Doesn't
it's illegal for Kangen to say their device is a medical device in the United States of America because the United States does not recognize it as a medical device.
interesting.
So it's actually illegal. And if someone ever got real excited, they could seize every machine that's imported from Kangen on US soil, virtue of their marketing, saying it's a medical device, a medical grade. That's illegal in the United States of America. And anyone who ever wanted to take them to task would be able to confiscate every machine they have in their warehouse if you just enacted the law. There's a law in the US that says if your device is a medical device in another country, you cannot state that to sell it in the United States of America because it's not a medical device here.
What about Echo? Do you classify as a medical device?
No, no, because it's illegal to say that.
Got it.
I can say that my machines in Korea have an FDA register, a Korean FDA registration. And all I
Yeah.
would do is pay another $1,000 and I would have that in Japan as well.
Yeah.
But who cares?
I,
It
I, I absolutely do not care about an FDA approval anyway.
right,
It's so
right,
corrupt, that agency. It shouldn't be allowed to exist. I mean, maybe RFK is doing something about it now, but
right.
I
He's a
don't think
good
that
dude. He's got a
warrants.
neck. He's got an
Has he
echo.
got one? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think getting an FDA approval warrants zero credit for any human person.
Yeah,
Human.
and the FDA does not consider electrolysis water or anything like that a medical product. Thank goodness, or you wouldn't be able to sell it. It would have to become a prescription item.
Interesting.
It's very stupid that Kangen does what it does, but Kangen has the Porsche machine on the market that costs about $300 to make, and they're selling it for 4,000, and that was all found out in public in discovery in multiple lawsuits. So anyone that goes and looks at the public data will see that it cost them $180 in Japan to make ST501.
Wow.
That now it might be 300 today because of all the costs gone up, but where's the 4,000? It's commissions, 2,200 of commissions, right? The rest goes to the company in Gardena. So the reality is this isn't a medical grade anything any more than any other machine made in Korea or Japan is medical grade, because every alkaline machine produced in Japan or Korea has to have Korean FDA approval. Why? Because Korea and Japan see these as a medical device. You cannot manufacture them without an FDA approval in those countries. So every machine that's made that makes a pH over what? 8 is considered a medical device in Korea and Japan.
Wow.
Because initially they thought that was the reason why there were benefits, is because the pH was above 8. Later it was proven false, but they never went back and said, oh, never mind, it's not a medical device anymore.
Got it.
So any water machine that produces water over an 8 pH has to be registered with the Korean FDA, the KFDA, and the Japanese Ministry of Health and Welfare. You have to register them if you manufacture in those countries. So literally every machine on the market that's made in South Korea or Japan has an FDA or a medical
Got it.
approval. So Kangen
Interesting.
is the only one stupid enough to market it, and one day they'll probably get hurt from doing it. But the reality is they're saying they're medical grade. Every single company to be able to sell has to have that same 13485, and it's the same approval.
Wow. Okay. Let's come back to the quality of the water because
Yes,
that's people are most likely here because they want to hear about how
love it.
amazing the water is.
Love it.
So let's talk about it being anti-inflammatory. That's my main subject.
I
So
love that. Yeah.
can you describe how it brings inflammation down? Are you able to discuss that or to talk about the
Yes.
people there?
Yes. Inflammation is a result of what?
Uh, toxins, chronic
Oxidative
stress,
stress.
oxidative stress. Yeah.
So hydrogen has been proven through 1,420 studies now to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation.
And that's
So
peer reviewed as well. I've seen tons of studies on
yeah,
PubMed saying
20,
molecular hydrogen.
20% of those studies are human double blind, many of them double blind, but 20% of those 1,400 studies are human studies.
Did you say 1400?
1,420 studies
Okay.
showing hydrogen to be therapeutic in the body with 200 disease models so far.
That's quite extraordinary. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So you're serving.
Largely, largely since 2009, I can take studies back into the 1700s and 1800s, but our primary study increase was 2009. Why? Because Nature Medicine published a study that Shigeya Ota began, and the end of that study showed that hydrogen was a selective antioxidant. It was not a typical antioxidant. In other words, it was not an electron donor, which is
Mm.
typically what an antioxidant is.
Yep.
And then if it was an electron donor, that would be a problem. Antioxidants are problems because once they donate their electron, they become a pro-oxidant.
Hmm.
And so it's bad to take a bunch of antioxidants. It just creates cancer.
That's interesting. Okay. I,
So,
I like the. Do you know who I thought explained oxidative stress very well? Is Dr. Buttar, who
oh,
said,
he's amazing. I love
yeah.
him.
And he just
I
he
still love him, even though he's
I know.
graduated.
Right. So sad. So sad. He was very much speaking
Rashid was
truth.
amazing. Yeah. And
Yes.
he had my water system in his home.
Oh, okay, you knew him. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
we were good friends.
I saw him
In
at the
fact,
Truth
in
About
fact, he
Cancer.
called me 4 days before he passed, and he
No
was like,
way.
"Hey, are you coming to the conference?" Because his conference was just that next weekend.
Did he tell you he's not about to kill himself?
No.
Yeah. I guess we don't go there. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. I remember seeing some footage around that time and it was very, very sad and frustrating because he was very outspoken about what was going on. The what he said about oxidative stress was if you can imagine an apple and you see it going brown, you cut an apple, you cut into it, and you witness it going brown.
That's
Basically,
oxidation.
that's
Yeah.
oxidation. So if we can imagine that happening in our bodies, we can imagine what's going on with oxidative stress.
Yeah, it's a good visual, but of course it's not what's happening in the body. But oxidation is happening. And so oxidation is very natural. We would all die without oxidation.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's required for life,
Yeah.
but not oxidative stress. So oxidation is normal and natural, and we can't live without that in our body. What happens is if oxidation is not managed and kept in a normal range, we end up with oxidative stress. That's when cellular damage begins. So hydrogen is supposed to be in the body through flatulence, through fermentation of food, and it would naturally keep oxidation in a normal range.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
so if we really look at what happened in 1950 to 1965, when there was a human trial in Japan on electrolysis created water, what they called Synol liquid at the time. Dr. Mishasua was the one that
Mm.
started this study, and they had what's called a batch electrolysis. So they'd have two electrodes in water, run it for half an hour, give that water to individuals in hospitals all across the country of Japan, 15-year human trial. What did we learn? The Japanese Ministry of Health said improper fermentation was cured. So
Mm.
what we understood was that guts were healed and diseases went away.
Wow.
That was 1950 to 1965.
That's significant.
Later, instead of doing what we call batch ionizers, they did flow through devices because it was way faster. And that's where your ionizers came from, which isn't a proper term, but that's what they called them. And
Okay.
that's where your alkaline machines came from. Was after that study in 1965, you began having companies toying with this idea. What are we going to do about this research? What are we going to do? And so, but understand, what did they find? It cured the gut.
Mm.
That's really what was discovered in 65. So Dr. Mishasua started doing all his stuff in 1930 with rice cultivation plants and ended up in human beings. And then they did the human trial in 1950, 1965. So we have a 15-year human trial. But what we understand is that hydrogen was king. It wasn't the pH of the water.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
so today, all we need to focus on is a device that will create proper hydrogen water, not scam water, proper hydrogen water. And what that means is the so Dr. Shigeota, who had that first study with Nature Medicine, created an organization called IHSA, the International Hydrogen Standards Association in Japan. So today, the only governing body of hydrogen devices is the IHSA, the International Hydrogen Standards. And what do they say? They say you have to claim your device is a hydrogen device, you must be able to put distilled water in it and produce half a part per million of hydrogen gas dissolved in the water, which means you would use gas chromatography. You would take that water after production, put it in gas chromatography, and prove there was at least half a part per million. There would be no alkaline water machine in the world other than one that I produce that accomplishes that standard.
How many does yours produce? What fraction? What percentage?
Are you talking about the flask or a machine?
Let's start with the flask.
This is with distilled water, 6.2 parts per million.
Okay. Okay. And the
And the standard is half a part per million.
right, so you're way above the standard. And the machine?
Anywhere from 1.5 to 1.8
Okay.
in the hydrogen water. In the alkaline chamber, because I'm the only alkaline chamber that's ever accomplished in the Echo Ultimate machine that makes four types of water. It is the only machine in the world that makes alkaline water that accomplished that standard because it's considered impossible for a standard electrolysis based product to convert distilled water into hydrogen gas because there's no mineral content to work with. But that's how much more effective my electrodes are in my electrolytic chamber. Now, keep in mind, the Ultimate machine has a hydrogen module and an alkaline acid module. That machine makes 4 types of water. So it's got 2 engines in it. But we were able to accomplish half a part per million in the alkaline chamber with using distilled water. Only company in the world that's ever accomplished that with an alkaline system was me.
Okay.
Now, most of what we sell are hydrogen units that are producing minimum 1.5 parts per million with distilled water, up to 6 or 8 parts per million.
And what can people expect to feel when they start drinking this water?
Increased energy, better sleep. This is first day stuff.
Mm.
Increased energy, better sleep, reduction of joint pain, clarity of mind. People that have tremors within 10 minutes, their hands will be still.
I've got a client with Parkinson's. She'll love your water.
There's 22 studies on Parkinson's with hydrogen.
Interesting. That's good to know because
And
I'm
let's
actually
talk
talking to her
about for
right now about water. This is
yeah,
just timing.
yeah, let's
Really good
talk
timing.
about why. What's the mechanism for Parkinson's?
Well, I'd just simplify it and call it inflammation of the brain.
Yes, but what's the mechanism? What's hydrogen doing? Hydrogen is signaling ghrelin secretions.
Ah, I see.
So gastric ghrelin is going to the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and brainstem
Okay.
within 3 minutes. Within 3 minutes of our water hitting the stomach because of the hydrogen content, you've got ghrelin secretions going to the brain.
Okay. Does CBD have that similar effect?
No, I don't think so.
Or
No,
THC, yeah. Because that also eliminates tremors immediately. I
that's a
guess a
different
different function,
mechanism.
different
It's a
mechanism. Yeah.
different mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a toning down of function. This is a balancing of function.
That's
Hydrogen
extraordinary.
balances cognitive function.
So my client could expect to experience results by drinking this water pretty quickly.
Yes.
She'll absolutely get one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a situation in where we are in Baja where the water supply is really challenged. Like it's a lot of people drink from the garrafons, which are just RO, and then they're
Yep.
depleted of minerals. And you're
But
saying,
they're not. That's false. Remember, we talked about that.
yeah. Although what I do notice is my hydration is different if I don't drink that and I drink the mountain spring water. I notice it. I feel it, and a lot of people have discussed it as well. But
What are you feeling? Let's have fun with it. What are you feeling?
what can I feel if I
No, no,
drink?
no. I mean, when you say I feel it, what's the difference of you drinking reverse osmosis versus um
If I were to
mountain
just
spring?
drink the company that's just these big garrafons, I feel like I've got dry mouth. Even today, I felt like a bit of it today. But when I switch over, because I had about 3 or 4 days of it in the last few days, adding the
So, what
I'm
do you
kind of
think dry
experimenting.
mouth? What do you think that means? Dry mouth?
I would say it means not hydrating well enough. It
No,
being
I would say your body absorbed that water quickly
quickly.
because it left you with dry mouth, and you would need to drink more.
I drink a lot, but
Well,
there's
I'm
something
saying
about
that
the water.
reverse osmosis water went in and left you with dry mouth because there's no more water left in the mouth because it absorbed it.
That's an interesting take. I just
Mhm.
feel more hydrated when I drink proper Mountain Spring, which is what I'm drinking
In
today.
your mouth.
Yeah.
Right. But what's the body? That see,
Wouldn't you
this
say the
is
mouth is reflective of what's going on in the body?
well, it just
If
means
my
you're
if my lips were to be chapped, which they're not now, but they have been, and it's been that to me says dehydration.
well,
So
but
water
that
in this
dehydration
area,
comes that dehydration comes from either you had sun on your lips, so it actually
there's
got
a
rid
lot
of
of
the
sun. I get a lot of sun.
yeah, or if you're in the cold weather, you're using your body's using up the moisture,
Yeah,
so that that's not an indicator of your systemic system.
yeah.
It's just where the sun was exposed. I I'm just saying to you, dry mouth is not an indicator. It's not hydrating you. It's an indicator that it hydrated you so well that there's nothing left in the mouth.
That's
And
such an
so,
interesting take. Okay, I'll take that on board.
but
So,
let's have fun with that a little bit. So, when was reverse osmosis discovered?
I have no idea.
Hundreds of years ago in the Navy. You
Okay.
had to have a way to give sailors water, right? So you had a desalinization, you're floating in water, but you can't drink that water. So you have to take the salt out. And it was a desalinization and then reverse osmosis. So if it was true that reverse osmosis was somehow depleting minerals out of people, you would have sailors on every Navy ship having serious issues with mineral content. Number one. And then since the 60s, 1950s, you've got RO reverse osmosis systems being sold to the public as a excellent way to get rid of contaminants. We would see wide sweeping mineral deficiencies in people who had reverse osmosis systems.
Hmm.
And also let's be a devil's advocate. If you go to Seattle, Washington, the TDS of the tap water is like 6. That's lower than most reverse osmosis water. So we would be seeing mineral deficiency in Seattle because the tap water itself has almost no minerals in it. Because why? It's coming down off of mountains that are granite. There's there's no water soluble minerals in granite, so you're not going to pick up all the stuff. Like you go to Florida, you're going to have high mineral content because the water has a lot of limestone in it. So it's going to dissolve quite easily into water. But in mountains in Italy, Germany, Switzerland, you have parts of these countries that have no minerals in the water because they're high mountains, they're streams. And in fact, you should do this sometime. You should go to a high altitude mountain stream, test how many minerals are in that water. And you'll find there, depending on where it's at, it could be very little because
What-
if the rocks are granite, you're not getting much minerals out of that. And the water's cold.
I've always loved the water in those areas. I'm a
Yes.
snowboarder, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
water always tastes incredible because it just feels clean.
Correct.
Starters.
So I'm just challenging your thoughts because
Yeah.
obviously, because I don't care if people put minerals in the water. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
to me. All I'm saying is we put way too much emphasis on whether there's minerals in water versus are we also accepting contaminants that are harming us because we think we need to accept that water because there's minerals in it?
Hmm. Okay.
And which is better? Is it and then why the question is on this whole premise of water needing minerals, why would water need minerals? Water is
Oh,
H2O and it's perfect.
oh, I see. Okay.
I mean, what does it need minerals for? Minerals
I guess,
come because water runs over dirt.
yeah, I mean that's been my take, I guess, most of my life. That water should have minerals in it because if we were to be living, like I said earlier, before all of these devices, we'd be drinking stream water from clean sources.
And some of those streams have zero minerals in them and some
So,
have high. Depends on where that stream, how low, what place that stream is, how water soluble the minerals are, where the water's running. What I mean, you know, we just have to use common sense. And I know you well enough because I've met you in person before. You have a lot of that. And so you are brilliant. And I'm simply saying the industry of natural medicine is not educating people with truth when it comes to things. If you look in the medical industry, distilled water has always been the gold standard. Why? Because you're not introducing any other contaminant into the body to affect the outcome. You're giving them pure water. And so the body absorbs that without any potential of poisoning or causing issues with something else that's in that water. Now, I want to go on record saying I don't have an issue with someone adding good minerals like sea salts and
So,
other things. We definitely need electrolytes. We definitely need salt. Because we don't get enough salt in our diet.
despite what we're told.
That's right.
Yeah.
So adding taking pure water and adding salt or trace minerals, no problem. Do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter to me. The point that I'm making is we should not ever say water void of minerals is dead water or unhealthy or problematic. And we should definitely never say that water void of minerals is going to strip minerals out of me because you're three quarters water. If you just drink the water and it's in you, where are those minerals being stripped to? You are water.
Hmm.
If it's pulling it out of you, okay, common sense would say the water needs the minerals more than you. If water's going to pull it out of you, can you imagine the force it would take for water to pull minerals out of your cells or your muscles or your whatever? Like that would that would require a lot of power.
Wow. Okay.
And so we would then say water has to have minerals to fulfill its function as a liquid, or it wouldn't pull this stuff out.
Understood. Yeah.
And so it's just an interesting thought, which is
Yeah.
why do people buy into this? Why do they think? And the truth is, alkaline water machines typically, not mine, but every other one on the market requires minerals to make alkaline water.
Okay.
Now, that starts to make sense of why we began with this story was because the companies selling the equipment knew they needed minerals in the water for electrolysis to function because you need conductivity in the
Right.
water. And water without minerals doesn't have any conductivity. Water doesn't need conductivity. But the point that I'm making is that's more plausible that people who were marketing expensive machines would tell that story and go, you don't want to drink that dead water. Oh, no, for sure not. But they have no idea what that means and how plausible that is. So, anyways, I hope that's helped people go down a rabbit hole a little bit and just open their beautiful minds
Yeah.
that they've been given and go, I think I've been sold a bill of goods. I think pure water, there's nothing wrong with it. And in today's world, there are so many contaminants, your head would spin if you understood how many
Oh,
class
that's,
3 narcotics, how much
oh
blood
my
pressure
God.
medication, all these things that are in your water you're drinking. And if you're not employing filtration, you're forcing your body to be the filter. Why not buy a good filter instead of
Right.
forcing your body to be a filter?
I was sent a picture of mine from a talk I did about 10 years ago on men's testosterone levels crashing.
Right,
And I featured the water and how they found traces of the female hormone
right,
estrogen in the water supply,
right,
causing the feminization of
right.
fish, alligator
Yep.
penises to shrink. I actually called the presentation "Why are alligator penises shrinking and what does this have to do with men's testosterone levels?"
I know,
And it,
absolutely.
yeah, so if we can at least drink the purest of water money can buy, that's going to be beneficial. And then if we can create the hydrogen, the molecular hydrogen, drink molecular hydrogen, that's kind of next level, isn't it? And then we could even talk
Yeah.
about structuring.
And
But
and can we find hydrogen water in nature?
I would say yes. Are you saying no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every country on this world have sources of naturally occurring water with hydrogen. In fact, you've heard of Lourdes.
I have, yes.
There's
Yeah,
hydrogen
healing
in that
springs.
water. They've now proven they tested it and there's hydrogen. When you
Yeah.
go to every one of the healing waters
Yeah.
people accept heal, they all have hydrogen in them.
Yeah. That was my understanding as well. Yeah.
And
You need
some of them have magnetic energies, which are beautiful too when you're inside a mountain. But I would just say for today's takeaway, it has nothing to do with pH. You can get that out of your mind. The pH has nothing to do with health. And what I want to say for that is the body itself will manage pH in organ. Every organ has a different pH it functions at. The water you put in your body isn't going to affect your blood, thank goodness, or we would die the first time we drank soda or
yeah.
lemon juice. It's really your breath. It's carbonic acid through the breathing process that affects blood pH. So breathing one more time a minute is going to affect your blood pH, but not what you put in your stomach, thank goodness. The other thing we need to understand is every organ in the human body functions at a specific pH. What does matter is the minerals you're getting in your body from food. That is what the body uses to manage pH. In fact, osteoporosis is when you're not having enough minerals in your food content because you're eating packaged foods and you're not eating whole foods. Your body will strip calcium out of its own bones to manage pH.
Yeah. This is absolutely my understanding. Although you'd use a slightly different term, I would say that's an acidic environment. But
It's not acidic.
you're not using that. You're not
It's
using
but
that.
it's not acidic. It's just a
Yeah.
lack of mineral content.
Lack of mineral content. Yeah. And
Yeah.
inflammation. Yeah.
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 I mean, auto war. So you probably
Auto ward bug. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so do you know that he never said anything about acid or any of that?
Well,
That's not
he was all about oxygen, wasn't he?
well, but what did he say about it? What did he get his Nobel Prize for? To what did he prove that got him his Nobel Prize?
Well, it was basically cancer cannot thrive. Oh, no, no, no. I'm going to get confused now. Under oxygenation is what is creating the cancer.
Wrong.
It's not.
That's what people are saying, but that's not what his research showed, and that's not what he got his Nobel Prize for.
Tell. I'm gonna have to go and research this again. What's
What
no?
what Otto Warburg proved was that cancer can thrive in an oxygen rich and an oxygen poor environment. It doesn't matter because cancer uses glycolysis, sugar. It thrives on sugar, not on oxygen
Yes. So okay. So you said it cannot thrive in an oxygen-rich environment
or oxygen poor.
or
In
oxygen.
other words, it doesn't matter the level of oxygen. Makes no difference to cancer cells.
Interesting.
That's what his research actually showed.
Hmm.
Isn't that interesting? What did he really say? This is really cool. Do we understand that cancer cells function like a plant? How do plants get energy? Glycolysis.
And the sun,
Right. And what do plants release into the environment?
carbon.
Oxygen.
Sorry. Sorry. My brain's now. Yes. 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 Oxygen.
Cancer works the same way. Could cancer be an oxygen generator in the body when you're in trouble?
Wow.
What an interesting thought. And when kept small in a little sack, maybe it's a little high oxygen generator, but it's when we cut it open that those things spread out bigger. But what if, and I'm not saying this is, and I'm not claiming this, I just want people to think, what if a little cancer tumor was an oxygen generator?
Well, my understanding was the uncontrolled proliferation of cells is the cells craving oxygen.
We know cancer is not good when it goes everywhere in the body. And how does cancer thrive? It's because apoptosis is not employed and those cells aren't destroying themselves. The good news is hydrogen restarts apoptosis in cancer cells. So cancer cells will destroy themselves when you're getting hydrogen in your system.
As a soundbite. Yeah.
So this is what there's currently 100 over 125 studies on cancer and hydrogen.
This is huge.
And and colon in the colon cancer, it stated that hydrogen water, and they tested hydrogen water from Mount Fuji in Japan and what they called high content hydrogen water. And what they showed is that high content hydrogen water, like what we make, has a stronger anti-cancer and antioxidative benefit in the body than does naturally occurring hydrogen water. But both were anti-cancer. And so then they took a chemotherapy called 5-fluorouracil and then combined hydrogen water with chemotherapy, and the result was 100% cancer cell death.
Wow. Wow.
Because hydrogen water didn't inhibit the chemotherapy. Hydrogen water by itself had a stronger anti-cancer activity than the
Mm.
chemotherapy drug by itself. But when you combined them, you had 100% cancer cell death because they worked well together. But hydrogen water is very anti-cancer. And so at the end of that study, it said hydrogen water supplementation can inhibit colon cancer, as especially in conjunction with 5-fluorouracil. So they said that hydrogen water by itself could inhibit cancer, but then when you combine it with 5-fluorouracil, which is chemotherapy drug of choice for colon cancer, colon 26 induced cancer, boom, now you got 100% cancer cell death. And so
Probably less
that's
damage to the
science.
rest of the cells. That's the challenge of the chemo, isn't it? It's destroying the rest of the cells.
Well, that chemo just goes after colon cancer cells.
Okay.
And guess what? Hydrogen will help all the rest of the cells.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of anyone with any type of cancer. No matter what they're taking for cancer, they should be drinking hydrogen water because it will help their body not have as much stress and problem from chemotherapy, but it allows the chemotherapy drug to do what it's designed to do without having all the residual damage to the gut and the rest of the body.
Yeah. That's huge. I mean, we could probably talk for another hour on cancer. We need to
Well,
wrap.
I'm not a cancer expert. I
Yeah.
just can regurgitate
Certain
what the
studies.
studies say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Paul, this has been a really interesting conversation. This is one of my longest podcasts. I normally keep them to an hour. The other one actually was a cancer podcast.
Uh-huh.
I'd love to talk more. Where can our listeners find your product? And
Echowater.com. So echo water.com. That's where to go to see products. And also from a research perspective, I created a resource website where you can go and look at the studies. It's called hydrogenstudies.com.
brilliant,
So I own that site for many years. If you just go to hydrogen studies with an S.com, you can see thousands of studies and you can parse the data by subject, by country, by organ, by outcome,
brilliant,
whatever you want to do with it. You can really use that as a resource.
fantastic. I think
And yeah, after you understand and you go in and you can type in cancer and you'll see all 125 studies come up. You can type in diabetes, all 77 studies come up. You can type in Parkinson's,
brilliant,
22 studies will come. You can type in elite athletes or athletes, or you can type in blood pressure, you can type in cholesterol, LDL, whatever you want. You can type in peptides, you can type in nitric oxide, and you'll see
mm,
studies on how hydrogen affects nitric oxide and how hydrogen affects peptides, naturally occurring peptides in the body. So there's not a whole lot that hydrogen's not involved with. I'm telling you, it is mission critical for your entire body. It's incredible. But
love that.
after you've done your research, then you can go to echowater.com and you can purchase a product. And if you're skeptical, then get the Echo Flask, which is this, and it's perfect for travel and it's perfect for if you're skeptical because you'll be able to get
Yeah.
benefits and then you can be like, oh, this is great. Now I want to get a machine or I want to get the pitcher that's a half a gallon because this is 12 ounces and you should drink at least 3 of these per day.
In addition to
But
other water, or
Oh, you can have other types of water. That's fine. Um, but you should at least have three of these per day to get your hydrogen in. And so understand that it'll start to repair your gut. Hydrogen will within an hour. And so within 2 weeks, you might be surprised what you can eat that you weren't able to eat before.
That's incredible.
So just try it. And then we have a special that we've done just for you, brother.
Oh, thank you. Tell me.
Vitality.
So when they enter the discount code Vitality, they'll
They
get
get a
a
discount.
special.
And we don't discount that much. So when they get a discount for because of you, they can say Neo Canon is amazing. And they'll get a discount on any product they buy in the entire Echo website. And understand we have everything from whole house filtration that only starts at $3,000 for a whole house filtration system that's very robust. We have a reverse osmosis system that's tankless, no maintenance on a tank with it's going
Oh,
to grow
wow.
mold. It makes a quarter gallon a minute of reverse osmosis water. The best deal right now going is the kitchen makeover bundle, which is a reverse osmosis, the Echo RO system, the Echo hydrogen server, which goes under sink with the RO to put hydrogen in that reverse osmosis water. There's a leak detection kit, and there's a beautiful silicone layer that goes on the bottom of the sink underneath with the Echo brand on it. That whole bundle is currently like $1,100 off, $1,200 off. So
Okay.
they can go and get that. That's going to give them the cleanest drinking water. That's what you could use in
Oh,
Mexico.
for the whole family as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking this for Mexico for sure.
Yeah, we have a
Half
hydrogen
the,
bath. We have a hydrogen bath unit. That's what Jake
oh,
Paul, The Rock, Leonardo DiCaprio, all these
I,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a woman on my podcast, Kerry Kasem, a few weeks
Okay.
ago, who reversed Lyme, and she talked about these hydrogen baths. So you do those?
Oh
You,
yeah, we have the only real one that doesn't require lime. You don't have to put any chemicals. You don't have to clean it out. Our unit is the same technology we use here, just larger, and it's putting 2 parts per million of hydrogen into the bath water. You can also do it in a cold plunge, of course, but you can have the hydrogen water and you're bathing in it. What's going to be beneficial is collagen. So it will
Mm,
stimulate collagen in the skin, wrinkles, aesthetics. You will visibly see a difference in your skin the first use, you know. But
amazing.
that's not one of our inexpensive products. That is a whole system that sits next to your tub. There's two tubes that go in. One's pulling water, one's putting water back. And it looks almost like milk coming in because there's so much
I've seen
hydrogen
this.
gas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we have inhalation units that are 1,800 milliliters per minute. Two people could use them at the same time, sit and watch TV together and be. And what
Yeah.
is inhalation good for? Lung issues. Um, Water will help with lung issues too, of course. But if you want a direct path, obviously you're breathing in hydrogen, it's going to go right to your lungs.
I
For
have a
long
feeling,
COVID,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a feeling your device is what Stan Kurtz had in Mill Valley, Simi Valley. Do you know Stan Kurtz by any chance?
I don't.
Okay. We
I'm
cleaned
sorry. We have, I mean, the King of
so
Bahrain just got our
oh,
our systems and yeah, our whole
yeah.
house system, our Echo, all that. We have many athletes. Tom Brady loves
It's
Echo, uses
anti-inflammatory.
Echo. Oh,
Yeah.
he's an amazing man, and he endorses Echo. Dana White, the UFC, the Raiders, the Dodgers. Ronaldo, the soccer player, Djokovic. I think 6 years
Yeah.
he's been drinking our water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a brilliant guy.
Oh, he is. He's a champion in every aspect of the
Oh
word.
my goodness. Yeah. Holding firm during COVID.
I love him, and I don't
Mhm.
even know him personally, but I love him.
Totally.
And
I'm the
yeah,
same. Really
yeah,
lucky I am.
yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Paul, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for creating an extraordinary life-changing product. And I would absolutely invite our listeners and viewers to go to Echo Water. What was the resource site as well? I will put it beneath, of course.
Hydrogenstudies.com.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm about to share this with all of my breathing group immediately. They're going to love this. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Paul.
Yep.
Oh, one final question. This is
Yes.
going to be obvious. I always like to ask my guests what your number one vitality secret is.
Um, I think there are several basic things we need to do, but I would say forgiveness.
Mm,
Get good at forgiving others. And I'm not saying put yourself in harm's way again, but we can forgive others and not be around them anymore, but we can forgive them so it releases us and releases them and we don't hold claim on people. I think it's one of the most misunderstood principle is forgiving people even if they don't ask for forgiveness, forgiving them and letting them worry about their own issues. We don't need to carry their stuff with us. A lot of times it creates toxins in us. It's very toxic for us to hold claim on another's life.
mm,
So that's something I would say is to get really good at forgiving others. Doesn't mean you stay in an abusive place or allow people to abuse you. You can forgive and move on. And that's what I'm saying. And I think sleep um, is a big one that people are misunderstanding. And I would say your next most is have a higher power in your life
mm.
that you recognize beyond yourself. And
I love that.
I have, I mean, Christ is where I'm at, God. But it doesn't matter to me who yours is. What matters is that you have gratitude and you recognize that there is something greater than you, more wise than you, and that you spend time in meditation or spend time focusing on a higher power. For me, I I know what where my higher power is, but everyone should have one and be able to become your best you.
I love that. And I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. Big part of my life too.
Yeah.
On that note, Dr. Paul, thank you so much for being on the
Thank
Vitality
you.
Secret podcast.
Thank
It's
you.
very informative. It's been quite a few lessons for me. Wasn't expecting that. Maybe I was, but thank you.
Thank you,
And
Neil. It was an honor.
hopefully see you at another biohacking event sometime soon.
Yeah, I will be speaking in London at the Health Optimization Summit.
Oh yeah, Tim Gray. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
We met years ago actually in
Yeah.
at one of his small meetups before he started the Health
Yeah.
Optimization Summit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been doing it for a long time and
Yeah.
he asked me to speak many years ago and yeah, so it's great. Yeah.
Awesome. I have a feeling you might have spoken at Metal International as well,
What is that?
the men's group in LA. I swear I met you at Metal once. This is
I don't think
many
I've
years
ever been
ago.
there.
Oh, okay,
Huh.
maybe not. Maybe I
Maybe, I don't know.
made
Maybe
it
I'm
up.
wrong. It happens every day.
It could have been
But
online.
yeah, yeah, who knows? But hey, anywhere you want me speaking, I'm happy to speak. I love educating people on hydrogen. It definitely is a stewardship that I've been given after I helped my queen, the love of my life. And here's our little family, just for people if they can have fun looking at that.
Beautiful.
And there's my wife in the middle. She's
Oh,
amazing. But long story short,
the
I'm
camera
happy to
just
educate.
changed.
Uh-oh, there we go. Back.
Intelligent camera.
I know, right? Anyways, thank you so much, Neil.
Thank you, Dr. Paul, and
Yeah,
I'll hopefully see you soon.
yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Vitality Secret podcast. If you liked this, please leave a 5-star rating. And if you loved it, please take a few minutes to leave a review. The more ratings and reviews that are left, the easier it is for this life-changing information to get into the hands of people who need it. Take your vitality to the next level at vitalitysecret.com.